Rita would do her reality check, but she's over in Arizona, so let's go to Arizona for Rita's reality check.
Hi, guys. Hi, CPAC. I'm at Turning Point USA headquarters in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm joined by Jack Posobiec. He was supposed to be in Brisbane this weekend for CPAC, but of course, the tragic death, the murder of his great mate, Charlie Kirk, sees him here. Tell me, what has the last week meant to you?
You know, Rita, it's hard to put into words, and we were actually very excited to have been there at CPAC, and we were going to bring the whole family, our first time to Australia, and then suddenly the whiplash of receiving the news and that feeling that the whole world is turned completely upside down, that someone who you work with every day, that you fight with and by your side and stand shoulder to shoulder with, is suddenly ripped in the most unimaginable manner. So we hopped a flight immediately to here, and I've been here since it happened, and we're doing everything we can. We're pulling it all together, and it's really just been amazing to see Erica and her strength and her ability to be Charlie's angel, and to be not only a rock for her family, but a rock for this organization.
Now, we had a very ugly reaction from the left. I think even those of us who work in that space were shocked by the depths of depravity, some of the commentary, some of the celebration, the rationalisation, and still we're seeing some of that continue. The left now playing the victim and saying they're victims of cancel culture. How do you see that, and how do you see that going forward?
Well, Rita, we can never forget the reaction here. We can never forget what we saw.
Yeah.
Never forget that when the true face of the left was revealed in all of its ugliness, I had always hoped that maybe, just maybe, we could get along and have rational dialogue and have a conversation. But this has become a cult that embraces death, that embraces murder, that embraces the most brutal slaughter of not just my friend, but a young man, a father, to two young children who will never see their dad again. Yeah. He's never going to be able to throw a baseball to his son, teach him how to catch, or teach him how to swim, or ride a bike. And there has to be an answer for that. There has to be justice for that.
Well, we still have the likes of Ilhan Omar going on television and doubling down on these attacks, doubling down on attacking Charlie's character, his impact on the culture. How do you counter that? How do you have unity with people who have such bile and hate for half the country, if not more?
Oh, there's no unity. There's no unity with someone who rejects your right to exist. James Baldwin, who's a leftist, by the way, said that. There's no unity with someone who stands for your oppression, who stands with stripping you of your life, who stands with stripping you of your right to exist. And you look what they did, not only to Charlie with censorship, but to try to shut down Turning Point with the power of the state, which was used to try to shut down this organization, that's been used to try to shut us down for many years under the previous administration. But to deny your right to exist, no, there's no unity with that.
And that's what Vice President J.D. Vance spoke about, that if we want to have unity, we're going to have some truth. We need to have a reckoning with reality and face this ugliness that's been allowed to develop in the culture, where you've got certain people, a lot of them with considerable power, who think they're entitled to behave in this way, that they think there are no consequences for behaving in this way.
You know, and what did we see? We saw that it's not just high-level Democrats like AOC or Ilhan Omar. It's teachers and nurses and doctors and people in positions of local authority, DMV, you know, workers, things like this, university workers. And there is a real cancer. There's a real cancer that has infected our society, and it will not stop unless it is cured. It will spread if it is not stopped. And if Charlie's sacrifice, and it was a sacrifice, a true sacrifice, which must be described as such, is to mean anything, it means it gives us that last little bit of courage, that extra bit of courage to say, No more. No more. And it's a gift. What he did is actually a gift, not just to those of us who are here now, but to all future generations of Western civilization, that we have a chance now. We have a chance because of Charlie's gift. And when it's written about, it will be described as such, that one of the 2 or 3 moments when Western civilization seemed like it was absolutely at the brink, that the death of Charlie Kirk gave us that final bit of courage to move across the line and say, this is where we will stand.
It's a turning point. It is a turning point, isn't it? I don't want to be...
He lived his whole life trying to inspire a turning point, and his sacrifice has achieved it.
And that shift in the culture, it's evident everywhere you look, whether it's sporting leagues having a tribute to Charlie, whether it's people opening their eyes to just how ugly and putrid elements of the left have become, whether it's young people being emboldened to say what they think on university campuses. His impact and his legacy is enormous and will be enormous.
The ugliness that spawned this horrific and unspeakable act of evil is being answered by an incredible spread of beauty.
Yes.
And it's not just here in front of this headquarters where I've been here every night and people don't stop coming, and it's actually been multiplying, and it's spread across the world. And that's the cure.
Yeah.
The cure, the hope, whether to Asia, to Europe, to Australia, that it can be done. It can absolutely be done, and we can stand up and we can let people know this is who we are, that is not who we are, and define it in the strictest terms possible. And if the center is to hold, then let that center be Charlie Kirk.
Jack, thank you so much for your time today. And guys, I wish I could be there with you, but we are here. We're covering a story that is enormously important, not just in America, but I think throughout the West. And I'll come back to you later in the show with a little bit more.